Hello everyone and welcome back to Chronosplays Apollo Justice. Today, Brushel's gonna be testifying again, and hopefully it's a little bit more useful this time around. What Brushel noticed. Well, when I arrived at the studio, Mr. Misham was at his desk. He seemed to be writing a letter, but he quickly sealed the envelope. I thought nothing of it at the time, of course. Now that I think about it, what if he was writing a suicide note? A suicide note. Yeah, he had this look on his face. A man's face inscrutable as a quadratic equation. End quote. Suicide, poor Mr. Misham. But that does mean very resistant. Would anyone commit someone commit suicide in the middle of an interview? Yeah. Yeah, actually. There are videos of that happening. So, yes. That's not even as weird as it is to say, it's not even that like unheard of for like even question that. No. I mean, I guess written interview is a little bit different as a televised interview or something like that, but it definitely has happened. I think one of the more famous ones is a politician who was doing who called a press conference interview type deal to go over like some embezzlement charges he had, and he pulled out a gun and shot himself. So yeah, I mean, it's one of the more famous ones because there's video of it all over the internet. Unfortunately, there's a lot of videos of everything on the internet, which is quite horrific sometimes. Very well, you may begin your cross-examination. Alright, so press. Hi, Venus. Was there anyone at the studio other than Mr. Misham? Well, his daughter Vera, of course. Was anyone besides Mr. Misham or Vera present? No, not a single one. Not even me. Not a cat, a rat, not even a mouse. The only person who didn't belong in the studio there was you, wasn't it, Mr. Brushel? Yeah, I know what you're doing. I know your game. Attorney uses classic Ramsden phenomenon ploy, end quote. If you intend to suggest this reporter is a suspect, kind of like you do in every trial we've ever had, I'm sure you also intend to present evidence supporting this assertion, correct? In the meantime, let's move along, shall we? That does happen kind of too much. So how else would it be played out though, Chronos, right? Well, I don't know, man. It's one of those things that seems like almost every time we have a trial. Has there ever been a case where a witness didn't turn out to be the real killer? I don't think so. I'm trying to think. Well, no, actually, you're right. There was one. I think there might have been. No, just one. No, two. Right, where the prosecutor ended up being the baddie, right? Oh wait, no. I think it was just one, and the other one did another crime. No, no, he did that one too. So yeah, two. Anyways, so he put the letter away when he saw you. An early reporter gets worm. End quote. That's my secret. I eat worms. Can't you tell by these enormous teeth? I'm not sure I follow. That's the night of the interview. I arrived 50 minutes ahead of schedule. The handle turns, the door opens, and I barge in. Are you sure that's okay to do? I mean, isn't that unlawful entry, really? Mr. Misham sure seemed to think so. You should have seen him. He crammed his letter into that yellow envelope as fast as he could. Yellow envelope. I know a secret when I spot one, and that was one. It does seem insignificant. Well, Mr. Justice, I wonder. It does have a ring of something important. Yeah, yellow? Add it to the testimony. Sure, why not? Very well, please add it to the testimony then. Hey, why not? My account comes free of charge. Okay, my OnlyFans doesn't though. And you saw him seal this envelope with the letter. Hey, don't look at me like that. I saw what I saw. Don't you see these gigantic like glasses that really enlarge my eyes? Apollo, you think he might be our big break, yeah. What I need to do is show decisive evidence now. Hold it. You didn't think anything might be wrong at the time. Hey, when I go in for an interview, that's what I'm there to do. The interviewer finds looking more effective than caring. End quote. But what about now? Thinking back on it, did you sense anything strange in Mr. Misham's behavior? Well, yeah. That's why I'm telling you all this to begin with. Very well, continue with your testimony. I kind of thought that was the last one. I don't know why. I thought we were gonna loop a suicide note. Well, yeah, but don't call me on anything like that. I mean, we literally kind of have to. This is your testimony. I'm just saying it's a possibility, you know? You didn't actually check the letter. Of course not. It was sealed. Contents can unknown until can is open. End quote. You can always check the label. Do you think Mr. Neeson was writing a suicide note? If he was, that would solve the case in a jiffy. Kinda makes me wonder about that letter. Alright, so... here? I'm assuming it's this? Objection! Music stopped. As it just so happens, there was a single letter in the desk drawer at the scene. In a red envelope. What? Oh my god. Oh, it was your tie. I actually thought that was his tongue he was wrapping around his head there for a second. Prosecutor Gavin. Yes? Was a yellow envelope found at the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, no. But here, forehead. It's easy to mistake the color of an envelope. I guess. But not this envelope. You see, it was postmarked already, 7 years ago. Well, Mr. Brushel, I can explain that. Drew, right, he wanted to get that letter in the envelope pronto. To get out of my sight of my beady eyes, right? So he grabbed the nearest envelope and crammed it away. And what about the whole red and yellow envelope contradiction, chump? Well, Mr. Justice, have you anything to say to the witness's claim? That night, the victim put a letter he had been writing in a red envelope. Impossible. That's impossible. I like your expression. So full of confidence. It's simple, really. As it just so happens, the defense team investigated the contents of this envelope with assistance of a forensic scientist. What? Note that this letter is addressed to Drew Misham. Ow? Why would he address a letter to himself? Let alone send a suicide note to himself. What? I've been what? Scooped? Oh, scooped like a new scooped? Yeah. Order! Mr. Brushel, can you explain this to the court? Oh, my, how could I have forgotten? I suppose this happens to the best of us. Reporter gets old, forgets lots. Fucking relatable. End quote. I'm still waiting for an explanation, Mr. Brushel. Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in the envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. His desk drawer? Yeah, a stamp. A so-called postage stamp. End quote. A stamp. Whatever for. Well, I mean his letter. What else? And then, yeah, I think I saw him put it in the letterbox. Yeah, it was a yellow envelope. And he put it in that box. So apparently, this yellow letter... Oh, I wish it did. Wait, this yellow letter has nothing to do with this case. Alright, I wish it did. Just think if it was that suicide note. What a story. Star writes suicide note in front of reporter. Files. End quote. As I was saying, that has nothing to do with this case. That said, yes, Your Honor? It makes me wonder about the contents of that red envelope. Oh, there you go. $100,000 is quite a good deal of money. So this was filmed 7 years ago, yeah? That makes it even more. So, am I finished here? I mean, am I finished here? I was just thinking, going home to start writing. Trucy. I'm gonna eat him! No, like, hold back, Trucy. I hate to state that what should be pretty obvious to anyone, but when you catch the scent of a story, you make that rather unique face. Oh, come on! Attorney has active imagination, little else. End quote. Even I noticed something, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. You know, I'm starting to understand what all this perceiving stuff is all about. Judge has active imagination. End quote. Please, continue with your testimony. Tell us about the scent of the story. Hey, I'm the one asking questions here, usually. No, you're not. You're in court. You actually don't really get to ask questions when you're doing this. Actually, it took a bit of work to get a thumbs up on the interview. Reporter leverages story, gets his interview. End quote. Story concerned a certain case from 7 years ago. Oh, that's very convenient. That red envelope probably has something to do with it. Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare. Should we go look at that letter box? So you threatened to go to the press with this story. That's how you get your interview. Blackmail. Well, yeah. I mean, no. I wasn't exactly black. I mean, I'm not. Something wrong, Mr. Brushel. Look. This is my story, my tidbit. Journalist info is livelihood. End quote. I see. Well, you have me chatting away in here. What's going on out there? What if some Wally Wordsworth or Sally Scooper gets wind of my story? They could do something going to press while I'm going to waste. This court feels your pain, Mr. Brushel. Mr. Justice, let's pick up the pace. Certain case 7 years ago. Wait, 7 years ago? Interesting. I was daydreaming. What's going on? Why'd that guy look like a brush? Oh, we gotta perceive. The victim, Drew Misham, had an aversion to reporters. Boy, I guess. Not even my considerable charms did much for him. Until I finally got my thumbs up, that is. Maybe you can elaborate on that a bit for us. Your thumb up what? Actually, your ass? Is it your ass? I feel like it's your ass. Exactly what sort of story was this? Oh, a little one. Like I said. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing in between. Like the lands between. End quote. I might have suggested I had a lead on that particular story. But I didn't threaten or cajole? Why don't I know that word? I do know that word, but I don't know that word. Where's my phone? Let's see. I've definitely seen that word before. Persuade to do something of staying coaxing or flattery. Cajole. He hoped to cajole her into selling the house. What? Okay, sure. I've seen that word before. I don't think I've ever actually heard it used. Honest. So the suggestion was enough to get the interview. Mr. Misham must have really wanted to keep it under wraps. The story concerned a certain case 7 years ago. Not 11. Chronos. Jesus Christ. A certain case 7 years ago. Tell us, what case? Now, let me state one thing, Mr. Attorney, and you can quote me on this. I can't talk about that case. Why not? It's about journalistic pride and staunchness and credibility and connections. Journalists reveal source only over his dead body. End quote. And Trucy just fucking comes up behind him and starts choking him with his tie. He sounded pretty determined not to talk. So we'll be gonna strangle me and dead men don't tell tales? I mean, maybe we have speak to dead. Chances of breaking his will aren't looking good. We can break his will. We can break a lot of things. On the one hand, we have your story, and on the other hand, this letter. What makes you think the two are related? No, I was just saying it's possible. Call it reporter's intuition. Yeah, you're gonna get fucking just shit all over your glasses, you nasty son of a bitch. Say, I have a lot of things, say a lot of things. You're gonna pick them all apart? Be my guest. All of them? No, just the incredibly suspicious ones. I see. Anything else to add about Mr. Misham? Okay, so we need to perceive something. I'm assuming it's about either the source or about the letter. Just how amazing was Mr. Misham's talent? Huh? Hoo-wee boy, I mean, hey, he's a star man to star. That flow of his brush is like a great undiluting river across the canvas. Artists' paint light up studio like sun, end quote. This guy's full of wacky gestures. That one just now was wackier than usual. He looks kind of nervous. Well, that? You want me to perceive on that last one? Definitely sounds like something different than before. Maybe it's time to bring you a new, you know what. It tells me there's a bad taste in my mouth. It all makes sense. Nothing jumps out as ridiculous. I wonder what the story he's talking about is. Must have been good. You get an interview from a famous recluse like that. Something powerful enough to drag Drew Mishram out of hiding. I wonder. Maybe it's had something to do with Mr. Mishram's art. Alright. You want me to perceive here? Or were you just saying in general? We'll try it. I don't think we get penalized for perceiving, right? Ugh. Oh. Okay, I don't see anything out of the ordinary other than his fucking mouth moving. Definitely out of the ordinary. Let's see. Jesus, man. Nothing? Okay, well, I might have to go through some of them a few more times. Thankfully, we don't actually get penalized for it. I feel like it's got to be here or here. We got the most information out of this one when you said he felt weird. Keep an eye on this. No. Here again. Is it weird that your teeth shrink in size? Because they definitely did shrink in size. I don't see anything. Okay, it's not that one then. I have fucking no idea. I don't know what I'm looking for. I might actually, like, I'm gonna go through them all again. I didn't go through some of them, but I'm gonna go through them all. And if I don't find anything, I'm gonna fucking look it up, I think. Oh. Jesus Christ, what the fuck was that? Did you sweat and fucking instantly dry up? Okay, that's... Gotcha! Yeah, that's impressive, actually. That took a while. Sweat much, Mr. Brushel? Yeah, well, a man can't help his glands, you know? It's more than that. When Mr. Mushroom's talent was mentioned, you suddenly begins to sweat buckets and then dry up instantly. You're hiding something about his talent. What? That's ridiculous. Evidence time. let's show where Mr. Misham's true talent lie. Just so happens I have evidence showing that his talent mentioned in the letter. This is the forgery, right? They're all forgeries. But none of them were updated to say they're forgeries, right? I guess? Yeah. I can't help but wonder what the court is supposed to conclude from this evidence. Oh. Other than you made a horrible mistake. A man burns bridge, forgets the cross first. End quote. That would be a stupid mistake, you're not wrong. Let's try that again. All I have to do is reel what Misham's talent really was. Shouldn't be so hard, right? Okay, if it wasn't the forged painting... I don't know. This? Hidden painting, I guess? Okay, so it was the real one, I would assume. The painting was found in Mr. Misham's studio. There are two problems with this painting. The first is it wasn't painted by Mr. Misham. The second is that there's another painting in the studio that I just showed you, and apparently that wasn't good enough, which looked exactly like this one. Not really exactly, there was a lot of stuff missing, except it was only half done. Then we have a letter discussing a payment of $100,000, which is as a certain business operation. The business of making forgeries. How'd your eyes move? How'd your eyes move like that? That is all, Your Honor. Everyone, please, everyone. Can we keep this private, please? This is my story, my scoop. Forgery. That is serious. That's a serious crime. Drew Misham was known as an artist these days, but there were rumors he dabbled in another kind of art until a few years back. Another art, meaning forgery. Drew Misham was talented at making precise, detailed fakes. A fact that certain criminal elements were quick to discover. Criminal elements? Not like a fire elemental, but a criminal? What? You can't seriously be talking about. Exactly. I'm talking about forging evidence. The rumor started circulating 7 years ago. 7 years ago? So are we to understand that this letter, this payment of $100,000 was for? Exactly. Forged evidence, nets tied to profit, end quote. Okay, why? It's like our victim was living a double life. Aha, this is my chance. The victim had ties to the criminal world, right? He could have had plenty of enemies we know nothing about. That's my first time hearing of this criminal world. We certainly found no criminal connection when we conducted our investigation. Yeah, but you suck! How do you explain all this money? You have to admit there's a possibility of some illegal activity here. But there's no proof trying this led to our case. Our case was, and remains, simple from the beginning. Only the defendant could have poisoned that mug that night. And you, of course. Hey, the only thing I poison is my pen when I write reviews. Mr. Brushel, your testimony to this point has been quite unreliable. It doesn't speak well to your reporting acumen. What are you talking about? My journal is rock solid. My journal is so solid you can stand an elephant on it. End quote. In any case, let's hear a summarized recap of your testimony. If we can ascertain the situation in the studio, from the recap, the trial is over. Apollo, what's he talking about? The cross-examination showed Mr. Brushel didn't really have a reason or means to poison him. As long as there's no other suspects, then the killer had to be Vera, that's what. The next testimony is our last chance. Mr. Brushel, your testimony, please. Honestly, if I was on the jury for this, I would have no fucking idea what's going on. I would just be like, this does not prove that she did it at all, and also it proves that you guys don't know anything of what happened. So maybe get more evidence. The only other person in the studio that night was the defendant. I mean, that's good evidence, but you're like insane. It was Vera who poured in the coffee. She made it as much herself. The only thing that touched Drew's lips during the interview was that mug. And nothing left the studio after he died. Nothing. Clearly, the only one who could have poisoned him was his daughter. Well, a nice testimony. Clear, succinct, and without room for doubt. Oh, shucks. You really think so? No. I believe this clarifies the situation that night. Very well, Mr. Justice. You may begin your final cross-examination. Right. I still have one trump card left to play. And I won't let this trial end until I use it! Is our trump card that picture frame? I would assume it's the picture frame, right? But that doesn't prove Vera poisoned it. How many times have we heard that one here, Forehead? The poison reaches the victim via the coffee mug. And from where did that coffee come from? Not to beat a dead horse again and again, but perhaps you could fill us in. I'm on it. You need a dead horse beat? I'm a man. And you witnessed her pouring the coffee. Of course I didn't witness it. When she came in with that tray, the coffee had already poured and steaming. Let's not forget the defendant has admitted to pouring the coffee herself. I heard a statement, I poured, I served, and I killed. What? That last part was just a little joke. I don't think I'm gonna get anywhere with the coffee mug. I need to find another weak spot in the case. Also, objection to what he just said. Jury, strike that from your memory. You're sure about that? Well, to be really, really precise, I was busy gobbling mint candies the whole time. One of those candies might have been poisoned. Yet at the time of the autopsy, no fresh fragrance of mint filled the room. And no mint residue was found. It was a long shot anyways. Don't tell me you're still trying to prove this. You think the victim ate, drank, and otherwise ingested something other than coffee? Well, Mr. Justice, if you have proof, the possibility is there, I can feel it, just maybe not prove it yet. The possibility isn't going to cut it, but not now. Mr. Reason ingested the poison via the route other than the coffee. Not yet. It's can't be proven. I do believe our little forehead has grown up. Pity, we lack the... Oh no, I need to press more! Sorry, another hole in this case just needs plugging before I can prove anything. But first things first, I need better uncover a weak spot before I try to strike again. Yes, please. Because I'm pretty sure I need to show that frame, I'm assuming there, but I just want to make sure I press everything. Not one thing, you're sure? Yep, as sure as you can be. Well, with one exception. One exception? What? Journalistic Spark Brushel does interview. Leave studio. End quote. Ah ha 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 ha. Come on. It's a joke. Get it? Not funny, I know, but still. Kind of reminds me of that politician that said something and was like, please clap. Did something leave the studio that night? Why does that sound familiar? Where have I heard something like that before? Now that we've proven our witness is a comedian of sorts, I'd like to turn to our defense attorney before returning to the testimony. Do you have any idea what, if anything, might have left the studio that night? Nah, I got no fucking idea. I got no fucking clue, man. The yellow letter, maybe? That one. It's empty. I think one thing might very well have left the studio that night, actually. Or certain something that was vanished from the crime scene. By which you mean something other than our witness. Of course. Don't tell me. Their mission? Believe me, any comic relief I may provide is entirely unintentional. And let's see what you've got for us. Well, this thing wasn't at the crime scene, so I can't show it to you. But I do have evidence that shows that it could have been taken from the scene. I still had one more thing to press. Fuck! This is the only link between the studio and the outside world. A letterbox. What did Mr. Brushel just tell us? When he entered the studio the night of the murder, the victim had just finished writing a letter. Yeah, I said that, and yeah, it was true. Furthermore, you went on to tell us that he put the letter in the yellow envelope and put it in the letterbox. Ah, but the very same letterbox was empty. In other words, that night, the yellow envelope disappeared. Ah, yes, intriguing. So an envelope had disappeared from the scene of the crime. Of course, that changes nothing. Huh? He has a point, Mr. Justice. What we're trying to figure out here is how the poison got to Mr. Misham. Is it really important that the envelope the witness says he saw disappeared? Well, if it did disappear, then something did leave the studio that night. That seems very important to me. Very well, then. The witness will add that to his testimony. You got it! I still think this fails to change anything here, Forehead. Yeah, but it doesn't really matter what you think, because I've beaten you how many times now? A letter disappeared from this crime scene that night. This is exactly the opening I'm looking for. Okay, press. Nothing could be more serious than an envelope disappearing from that studio. And you were hiding that fact from us. Well, yeah, I was, actually. I don't argue the possibility that a letter disappeared from that studio. But here, Forehead, isn't there a much more serious question before us? Right, how Mr. Misham was poisoned, I know. But Mr. Brushel's testimony has changed, which means the facts of this case have too. And what he told us means something entirely different now. I'm starting to think. Let's keep going, Apollo! I guess. We're the only one that left. Okay. You say clearly, as though it was obvious. But this claim that the defendant poisoned the victim is merely conjecture. Ah, yeah, well, you see, in my business, it's all about making the most ridiculous things sound right. A bad habit, I know. Oh, yeah, well, actually, I guess this is more of a case of ridiculous journalist sounds wrong, end quote. This court is forced to agree with you. Please refrain from wild conjecture. Understood loud and clear. If only I could believe that. What do you think, Apollo? Everything he thinks seems so not flawed. Well, that's kind of what you want from a testimony, really. I need to keep my eyes on what matters. However, how and why was Drew Misham killed? They report the coffee, that's not going to change. But if that coffee didn't kill him, I need to find what did and prove it. Okay. Huh. I mean, it was this one we had the other option for, right? Because this has to come into play. Objection! Yeah, I know. Hurry up. I can prove it. Maybe? I don't know. I can't really prove it. I can suggest that maybe he fucking touched this and put it to his mouth, maybe? The poison shows somewhere else in the room, yes? So, there is a possibility. Proof is possible. Here goes nothing. You do understand that we need what we need, yeah? Proof here, Forehead, not possibilities. Of course, and Prosecutor Gavin, I hope you understand. I'm ready to give you that proof. What did you say? I have proof of the disappearing envelope. No, I don't! I saw him writing a letter, I did! Which was picked up by the mailman, I assume. Of course, which means that envelope had a stamp on it. A stamp? Ah. As we all know, stamps come from a dried glue on the back. In order to use the glue, you have to wet it by licking the stamp.
Objection!
Yeah, objection! I was gonna show the picture frame. No one would worth talking to actually lick stamp in this day and age. What the fuck are you talking about?
Objection!
Even if you wanted to talk to him, you couldn't. He's dead after all.
Objection!
Yeah, no shit. Okay, so he licked the stamp. But wait, how does it explain the aqua... oh, crap. It's been like a couple days since I read this. Atroconine, alright. How does that explain the atroconine on the rim of the coffee mug? If he licked the back of the poison stamp, the poison would get to his tongue, yes? What would then happen if you put the mug to his mouth? Those traces on the mug weren't the killer's doing. It was the other way around. What? The coffee mug didn't poison Mr. Misham. Mr. Misham poisoned the coffee mug himself. I mean, maybe? Order! Order! But that doesn't... does it? Recall, if you would. Atroconine is a slow active poison, yes? The poison entered his body when he put the stamp on the envelope. But his time wasn't up until the very moment he touched his lip to that coffee mug. Or cup of joe. Yeah, that's good. That's good shit. You have something to add, Mr. Brushel. Uh-oh. His nose is picking up another scent. As I believe I mentioned earlier. Or something. Ah, stamp. A so-called postage stamp. Okay, end quote. But you know, I don't seem to remember him ever finding one. Maybe he just ran out. Incidentally, we searched the desk drawer at the scene of the crime. There were no stamps, not a single one. That does pose a problem. How will you prove that the stamp was coated with poison? Actually, I'm glad no other stamps were found. It makes proving the stamp he used was poison possible. Good show, good show. You can't even prove there was a stamp at the scene of the crime in the first place. Well, let's hear what the defense has to say anyways. Where's your evidence that proves the existence of a poison stamp? Now this, I guess. Well, that certainly is a cute little frame, and by little I mean really little. It was on the victim's desk, Your Honor. Quite empty, as you can see. I noticed that during our inspection, so what? Apparently you weren't as observant as you should have been. You see, when you saw this frame, it was missing something quite important. Missing something? Yes, a pale bluish stain on the inside of the frame. Atroconine residue. What? Why wasn't I told about this? The frame is only 2 inches square. The face of the frame is even smaller. I know what that first sentence means, but for some reason my brain is having a real hard time processing it. Maybe 1 inch wide at most. You aren't saying. Oh, but I am. Tell me, what fits in a small frame? A commemorative stamp. I can speak, I swear. I know how to read, I can say English, it's fine. Perhaps? Order! Order! The poison stamp was in this frame. Impossible. Prosecutor Gavin. Why would he put something like that on his desk? Don't tell me he had it there so he could commit suicide if the mood struck. You know, I can say something. Can I say something? I had a thought, see? What, Mr. Brushel? Please stop jittering around like that. The victim was a forger, yeah? There's a lot of money on the line. Forger forges friends, makes enemies too. End quote. So the poison stamp might have been a murder weapon aimed at him. I mean, I guess it could have been a suicide, like, oh fuck, I was found out, licked the poison. But at the same time, I feel like you would find an easier, faster way to do that. Oh, that's rich. That's rich. Leave the ridiculous flights of fancy to the Gavinius song lyrics, please. Finally, something we agree on. The stamp was a murder weapon. Nonsense. Murder is a simple business. Why would you go to such lengths? No one. Oh, who would go to such lengths? No one. But what are you talking about? You're right. Murder is simple, and people will go to any length to do it if they desire to do it. Or feel like the need to do it, right? Oh, I disagree. Come again? Recall, if you would, the victim's reclusive lifestyle. Drew Misham hid from the world. He avoided meetings. His only contact with the outside world was the mail. The mail. Now, if you wanted to kill someone you couldn't meet, but you knew read letters, a stamp would be the perfect weapon. Ridiculous. Where's your proof? And I want proof. Show us evidence that his poison stamp was sent to him as a murder weapon. I might not have evidence, per se, but things are finally starting to come together. What is it, Apollo? Your fists are trembling. I think I know what happened. I don't believe it, but I can see it. I think I know how Mr. Mission was killed. Well, fill us in, Mr. Justice. A certain piece of evidence points to the truth, Your Honor. I can show you how someone with intent to kill sent Mr. Mission the stamp. I really wish I could have saved there. I can? I can? What do you mean I can? I don't think I can. I'm missing something. I definitely missed something. I can show you how someone with the intent to kill sent Mr. Mission the stamp of death. Is it this? I don't know. I mean, I guess, right? If he's making a forgery of this painting, he must have gotten the paintings from somewhere, right? But I don't know if that's the intent to kill. I don't know. That doesn't seem right, right? Not like any of these paintings. Well, these ones are forgeries, yeah. So I was gonna say it's not like any of these paintings came with like anything enclosed on them. There's nothing in the mailbox, right? And it's kind of cute. Oh, enclosed stamp. So this? Okay, sure. Fuck it. Oh, music. Oh, yeah, no. Isn't this the envelope, the one from 7 years ago? Think about the text of the letter again. There are 2 pages in the envelope. This is page 1. And this is page 2. I want to draw your attention to one phrase in particular. Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within 3 days. The enclosed stamp, Your Honor. Ah! In other words, if I have this straight, the stamp, poison, on the stamp, lick, gasp, end quote. Now, what if he had done exactly as the letter asked? He would have signed the document, put it in the envelope, and put the stamp on it, right? Then he would have put it in this letterbox. 15 years ago wouldn't have elapsed between... 15 minutes wouldn't have elapsed between affixing the stamp and the letter. But the clock started ticking, and when the time came, he drew his last breath. The murder weapon would be taken away from the scene. Quite conveniently, thanks to the postal system. Such a splendid imagination you have here, Forehead. Let me confirm one thing with you, that if I might. This poison stamp was inside this envelope from 7 years ago? Yeah? That's what you'd have us believe. Really? Well, it's a little bit of a stretch, but there is a possibility. Yes, a very small possibility. How small, I wonder? I don't know. A poison stamp in this envelope. A stamp that then became the murder weapon. How do you intend to prove this seeming coincidence? Well, it was 7 years ago, and we don't even know who sent the letter. And your answer is silence, I see. Very well, I move to. It's not nice to pick on that Verline what the hell is it? Clevier? Oh, Jesus, hi. Oh, hi. What the fuck? Emma! Well, how'd you like my Christoph Gavin impression? Did I sound like him? Don't quit your day job. Don't you have a don't you have a crime? What the fuck is happening? All right, don't you have a crime scene to be looking after? Someone had to come dig you out of your mess you're making, dig you all out of the mess you're making of this case. Mess? You know, none of this would happen if you just trusted in science a little more. You could find out if that stamp was in that envelope easy. Care to explain yourself, detective? Glare at me all you want, but science is on my side. It's all in the residue, right? That's right, the poison detection spray. Produce the red envelope at once. You can open it on the authority of the court next time. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all again next time, or next episode. I know how to do my outros. Bye!